Hello, welcome. And today we're talking about what happened when I stopped forcing my business and how we can do business in a quieter way as a highly sensitive person or an introvert or just somebody who wants a different way to do business your way that feels more aligned and not feeling that you need to be on all the time. It's such a noisy, loud world out there, particularly in the online space and the online coaching space, particularly when you're told how you're supposed to, how you should market your business. It can feel like a lot of pressure. And so today I'm going to share the journey that I've been through with this and what happened when I stopped pushing and forcing, and really accepted that I am a highly sensitive person, but also that changes the way that I do business because I think for a long time, even though I knew that, I still felt that there was a proper way to do business that involved being highly visible, on all the time, trying to compete with the noise, build this audience, push. And the truth is, that does not work for my nervous system. And this has expressed itself in numerous ways kind of along the journey over the last 10, 11 years, in periods of pushing and doing really well, and then periods of burnout, sort of struggling, feeling like what I was being taught to do in terms of marketing and promoting wasn't quite a fit for me, but I felt that's just the way you had to do it, right? So let me give some concrete examples. Feeling the need to post every single day on social media and be omnipresent across all the social media platforms. Well, let me tell you, and you may know this, when you are a solopreneur or a coach or a healer or a service provider, and it's just you or just you and a small team, that's a big ask when you're also serving clients, building your business, wearing all the hats. Now, I know there are tools and things that can help with that. I get the whole thing about content schedules and batch content creation and all of those productivity hacks, but that is not the point for an HSP or an introvert. The point is we have limited energy. We don't have to be, but we get to be very careful about our energy management. And what I'm coming to discover for myself is actually that's a lie. We do not have to be on all the time. This is at least my experience. We don't have to be posting every single day on social media. And I'm going to share what that's looked like for me, what's happened, what I'm doing instead. And business is thriving now. I'll take you through a little bit of the backstory, what happened when my business was doing incredibly well. Then I had a little bit of a downturn a couple of years ago, and what's happened since then, and the lessons, and particularly around being an HSP, a highly sensitive person in business, and how actually we're in this world that says you have to be noisy, says you have to be on, says you have to compete for your space in the online world. But there is a quieter, more nervous system friendly way that we can do this and still have success and still be profitable and all of those things, still deliver the service that we're meant to deliver, still help and serve and be on mission, just in a quieter way that nobody really talks about. And I'm going to talk about it today. And hopefully this will maybe inspire you a bit. Maybe you've been feeling the same. Maybe you've been feeling the pressure to be on, to be visible, to be omnipresent on all the channels, right? And if you're like me, maybe it doesn't fully suit you all the time, or you're just a human being and life stuff happens, and when it does, you can't keep up that level of activity. I know of coaches who I really respect who've gone through burnout through doing this, and they're not even necessarily HSPs. So for us, my suspicion, learnings, growing evidence is there is a better way, and that's the conversation I'd love to have with you today. So if you are here on the live, give me a hello on the live. If you're on the replay, you can do a hashtag replay. Let me know whether this is present for you, this is something you want to talk about. If you're on YouTube, subscribe please, would love to have you. Give the video a like, it will really help me out. So let's talk about it. I was taught from some amazing coaches. Okay, so I've been a coach, an online coach for about the last 11 years, since about 2012, 2013-ish. I learned a number of amazing marketing tactics, approaches from some amazing coaches. I learned things like the live launch, how to do the live launch, how to have a message, show up, how to write story-based content and posts that sell and get people to raise their hands, how to do high-ticket sales, so many skills. And I had some success with it, not immediately. I was a slow starter. There were people in my business cohort that got going straight out the gate and were making multiple six figures right away. That wasn't me. I was a slow starter. I can remember being on my first ever coaching course. I traveled to Miami and absolutely crying in the toilets, floods of tears, because I felt not worthy. Everyone else seemed to be so much more successful than me. So I had a bit of a bumpy start, let's say, some self-worth issues and things to work through, money consciousness, all the good things. And I did the work. I did go on to create some success in my coaching business. I had some very respectable years. This has been my full-time gig for probably the last 6 years, I would say. I'm not doing straight out coaching anymore. I am still coaching, but I'll get to that in a minute, what has changed. But ultimately, I was doing it full time, earning decent money. I had a couple of six-figure years. But all of that time, and there was a time a couple of years ago where my sort of average monthly income through my business was about 7K a month. There were some 25K months in there. So, had some really good successes financially. And also in terms of the clients I supported, the momentum we created, helped lots of people to launch their business, get their clients. I'm really good at activating people. So, getting that energy kind of going, getting people going, they bring in their first clients. It's really good, right? Love it. But what I found for myself and also my clients is that it wasn't necessarily sustainable long term. And I thought this was a me thing. I thought it was a Julie being weak. I have my menstrual cycle, which can be challenging. My energy is not the same all the time. I'm very much feminine in that way. When I'm on my period, my energy is incredibly low. I take a couple of days where I have to be in bed, and then other times of the month, my energy is high. But I saw other women working in very masculine energy ways, and there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but I was trying to emulate that and it doesn't work for me. And I kind of knew that from the get-go. I mean, God, I called my company Do Business Like a Woman, right? So I kind of knew, but we just have to repeat our lessons until we get them, don't we? In lived experience. So conceptually, I got it. Thinking wise, I was like, yeah, I get that. I need to manage my energy and work with my cycle and do business from a feminine energy perspective, not just a masculine linear fashion. But I kept getting pulled back into the way that most of society does it and kept kind of falling off the bandwagon and going back to those masculine energy strategies. And again, this is not to demonize masculine energy. I believe we need both. We need the balance, right? I love tapping into my masculine energy and get some doing energy happening. The difference is I would see women who were just working like they were men with masculine people, same energy all the time, because let's remember, masculine energy is linear, goal orientated. It's about the I, the individual. I was going to say something political then, but I won't. Masculine energy is like that. It's about doing, goal orientated, achieving. Feminine energy is dark. It is like the cyclical. Couldn't think of my word. Cyclical. It's about the we, collaboration. It's about being rather than doing. Creation. You know what is, but there's very much a cycle. You could think of it as a circle. You could think of it as the seasons. You know, there's the masculine. Typically is light, feminine can be dark, but not always. And so what I came to realize as an HSP who feels so many things and can get very easily flooded and overwhelmed because we process so much more at any given time, is that trying to have consistent same energy all the time, show up, be visible, be on, that doesn't suit me, and it was wrecking my nervous system. Also, I'm not an extrovert. I love connecting with people, love supporting you, my clients, my community, you know, and I value depth of relationship. But being constantly on numbers, talking all the time, takes a huge tax on me and my energy and my way to show up. And I was finding that when I was working like that, sooner or later my energy would deplete and I'd need to go and hide in bed for a while, and I would literally be running on empty, and that came with health issues and all kinds of things, but also a feeling of like failing as well. That's probably the most damaging part, is like I thought, this is a weakness of me. I'm weak because I can't work like these other women who just seem almost mechanical. They seem to keep going all the time. And there must be something wrong with me. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a cold, but there must be something wrong with me. That's BS. And if you've had any of that, let's call it what it is. It is BS. If you identify as an HSP, an introvert, somebody maybe quieter, there's a different way that we are supposed to do business that is much more supportive and nurturing of your nervous system, your energy and your health, allows you to be you, be tuned in, on mission, but also still allows you to create a successful business, to create profit and sustainability in your business. And that's where I am now. And for me, part of the work of regulating the nervous system has been, I needed more predictable income. And that's something that as an entrepreneur, we often are missing a little bit. But I needed a certain level of predictable income because of what I'd been through. Let me have a sip of water. Personally. So just to go back to the story real quick, and then I'll share kind of what I'm doing now in my business. So a couple of years ago, I got myself wrapped up in a narcissistic relationship with a romantic partner. Well, it was longer than a couple of years ago now, and it took me a bit of time to get out of that. Well, luckily I picked up on it quite quickly, got out within 18 months, but was then embroiled in some practical stuff, and it took me a really long time to get out and get free from that. And that took an impact on me. But also at the same time, the coaching industry was changing, the market was changing, trust was going down. You've probably heard about the trust recession, right? People are so much more suspicious online now, quite rightly so. And, you know, high ticket was not selling as well as it had been. Now, I fully believe we make our own economy, but all this kind of happened. So I had the personal stuff going on, and that was taking a hit on my confidence. And then I had the I didn't have, but we all had the changes in the marketplace as a whole. I also had then bought this house that I now live in, and it needed a lot of work. So I'd put a lot of work in and created a whole big financial situation for myself, because I used credit cards to do the work on the house, plan being then to remortgage and take the money out. In the meantime, with everything going on, my business took a huge downturn, and I was earning a fraction, and I mean a fraction, of what I'd been earning before. And so when it came time to remortgage, I couldn't remortgage. The income didn't support it. One of the pitfalls of being self-employed, single, at the time I was single, and it was what it was. But from there, I rebuilt and I pivoted a bit in my business. But I realized I just was not up for doing it the way that I'd done it before. All the hypey stuff, all the kind of money mindset, and if you're not earning enough, it's your fault and you're wrong, and there must be something with your mindset, and coaches charging so much money, but for programs that really didn't deliver the value. I was not down with that. I didn't like it. I'd experienced it. Look, I love coaching and I love deep transformational work. I love supporting people in a real way to launch their businesses, to get clients, to make proper money and get profitable. What I don't love is all the hype, all the, I'm going to name it for what it is, shame that, if you haven't done it yet, there's something wrong with you, or, so much of that goes on, and it felt icky to me. And then the pushing as well, and the high visibility, and, you have to do this many posts a day on social media. And oh my God, I was like, hell no. I did actually have an experiment, I think it was like middle of last year, where I posted a lot on Facebook, and it improved my visibility and stuff, did nothing for my nervous system. And so what I came to realize is, yes, I'm going to rebuild this thing, but I'm going to rebuild it in a completely different way that suits the marketplace, but more than that, suits me, right? And I still had income goals and things, but was far less concerned about the money, and I still am. I'm interested in feeling peaceful, feeling content, connected. Yes, have enough money to do the things I want, and be comfortable and not worry about money. And also I really wanted some certainty. Now I know in this world there's not really ever any certainty and all the things, but I wanted some baseline income that I could rely on. So as I rebuilt my business, these were the things I was thinking of. I've always focused on relationships and connection. What has changed is that now, so let me actually start with what hasn't changed, what I still hold by, and what I still believe to be true in business. I still believe that business is built on relationships. I still believe in keeping a dream client list of people you'd love to work with, prospects, whatever you want to call it. I still believe in connecting, however you do that, whether it's through networking, online, DMs, whatever that looks like for you. I still believe in sharing powerful content. What has changed for me is that I'm not willing to be on all the time. I'm not willing to post every day. I'm going for depth over quantity, which fits in with the whole AI thing. That's a whole nother conversation. I now am working in a way where I have a handful of clients who I work with in a much deeper way. They're paying me more money, and I'm on a retainer with some of them. I'm doing a mixture between done for you, done with you, and coaching. And this suits me down to the ground. So for me, done for you, I do some sort of online business manager work, and I bring in my copywriting skills, and I do that for one of my biggest clients. And then I have another client, I help her build her community, I help her with some of her content. And then I have coaching, I still do the coaching, and I have other clients that I just do bits of copy with them, and we do sort of a hybrid of coaching, strategy and support, and copy. So you can't call it straight up coaching anymore. Some of it is. I have a few clients that I still just do pure coaching, that's what they want. But what this is allowed to do is to make the income a lot more predictable and sustainable. I have gone ahead and worked with, and this was a transition, but I went and worked with business owners that were further along with me. And I had to work through some stuff of why would they need me? If they're further along, surely they don't need my expertise. Well, what I had to realize is that those business owners are busy, they cannot do it all, and they do need experts. They do need support. They do need people who can do the whole online business thing and have a head for strategy and can bring grounding and container and support to what they're doing. And that is hugely, hugely valuable to them. And I had to own my own expertise around that. Because at first I was a little bit squeamish of like going and having clients with businesses that were further ahead. I'm not anymore. So those are some of the things that's changed, and I'm still maintaining relationships with potential clients because things can change, right? And I'm focusing on relationships and depth. I love working deeply with the clients that I have. I haven't just got one client, I've got a few income streams, right? And I'm working on another one, which maybe I'll share with you another day, that has nothing to do with the online world. But that's really what's changed. Also, what's changed is I'm not posting every day, but I'm actually creating content that's meaningful to me, and I'm going to be building up a library of content to share. And it's going to have a longer shelf life. So I'm not obsessed with Facebook and the algorithms on Facebook and things like that anymore. And this all absolutely suits my nervous system. It feels much more reflective. It feels gentler. It feels more supportive. And I've just been supporting my nervous system in other ways, in my own health and that kind of thing. So I think that's what I wanted to share today. But since I've been doing that, my income's gone back up. It's way more predictable. I'm not quite to the level that I was sort of pre 2 years ago, but I'm absolutely, in a good place, and in a place where I'm content, happy, enjoying it. It feels expansive, and fully booked as well. And I do have clients coming back wanting to work with me again in deeper ways, and more support, things like that. So capacity wise, I'm at capacity, and I don't want to keep cramming more in. But it feels good. It feels good. And it feels like it's going in the right direction, but it also feels very honest and very sustainable and very manageable. So I don't know if this has been at all useful for you. Let me know. Do you resonate with what I'm saying? Have you felt like that? Have you had this suspicion that there's a different way that you could do business that suits you better? Let's explore it. Let's keep the conversation going together. I would love to hear from you, your experiences of this. If you have any questions for you, I'm an open book. Go ahead and ask them. I probably overshare rather than undershare, but would love to hear where you're at. If you've been through any of this journey, have you noticed changes in the market? How are you pivoting? How are you responding? I am here to support you. You are amazing. I've seen how some of my clients in our group container are responding to all of this, and they're doing it beautifully. They're doing it in their own way, taking the principles that we teach and explore together, and they're doing it in a way that feels in alignment. They're slowing down, they're trusting their own intuition, and then they're acting from there, and they're signing up clients, they're having wins, and they're getting good feedback, good reviews, and doing it in a way that feels good, that feels manageable to them. So that's it for today. Lots of love.